All right, this is the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our retro pay-per-view review series. We continue with our WrestleMania reviews. This is going to be WrestleMania 17, aka WrestleMania X7. And host Mike.
I'm Frank, man. Let's get into this man.
The curse of 2000 is over now.
Thank God.
Yeah, and anything we've said before, you put 2000 in front of a tag team or new, and it's going to be garbage. And 2000 was no different. It's just like Blues Brothers 2000, the movie was garbage. Dracula 2000, the movie was garbage. And WrestleMania 2000 was garbage. But now it gets good.
This can be argued as one of the best WrestleManias ever.
People say that, and it kind of was, but it kind of wasn't. We'll get into why I think it wasn't at the end.
Okay. This WrestleMania grossed over $3.5 million at this point. The buy rate itself worldwide was over 1 million. And
the record, all-time record.
Yeah. 67,925 people at the Astrodome on April 1st, 2001. I mean, look at this WrestleMania on how elite it was. WCW was just purchased. WCW is now gone. ECW is gone. Vince McMahon is the man, or Shane, doesn't matter, storyline wise. I mean, this was and right now, this is the pinnacle pay-per-view of 2001. And unfortunately, it didn't get any better after WrestleMania. It kind of was lacking after WrestleMania as far as the storylines go leading into the invasion. I was kind of getting bored, mainly because, well, one, they couldn't keep anybody healthy in 2001 either. You know, they had a lot of injuries, a lot of terminations on this one. But, yeah, this could be argued as one of the best WrestleManias ever. I'm not saying the best WrestleMania ever, but at least in the top 5 argument for sure. So let's get into it. Jim Ross, Paul Heyman doing the commentary, Jerry Lawler, still unemployed. Our opening match for the evening was for the Intercontinental Championship. It was Chris Jericho defending it against William Regal. Now, during the entrances, they had showed what led up to this, and this was awesome. I loved it. The whole storyline with these guys, Jericho peeing in his tea. It's just everything that they did here.
Good stuff. It was funny.
Was good. And these
guys
really good together. Yes,
WCW guys.
I noticed that a lot in this card. That you had a lot of WCW guys wrestling each other or out there. And let's not forget the WCW 2.0 guys are up in a luxury box about 10 miles up. Stasiak, Chavo, all the guys that we didn't give a shit about.
Yeah, they showed them when Shane fought Vince. I think that he's like, "Hey guys," and that goes to show you that the invasion was dead on arrival. But anyway, this was a great match.
It was dead before it started.
Yeah. This was a great match, though.
This really was. It was a short one too. It was a little over 7.5 minutes.
But it worked. It
did. And Jericho doing the lion salt on William Regal, gets the pin, keeps the Intercontinental Championship. So Jericho keeps his winning streak alive, because remember, the year before he did win a championship, even though he lost the second fall.
Yep.
So good for him. And this is actually his first. It's funny because his first 3 WrestleManias would all be title matches, including one main event.
Do you know what's funny too? Like in terms of WCW, when you look at Jim Ross and Heyman on commentary, that's WCW right there.
Exactly. Yeah. Even though Heyman was at this point ECW, he was he was originally Paul E. Dangerously, yeah.
And they had done commentary together on pay-per-views.
I liked Heyman in the brief stint that he did the commentary in 2001 until they brought Lawler back. Heyman's always been good at anything he's ever done. So
except paying the bills.
Oh yeah, well,
and paying the wrestlers.
He enjoyed the business of wrestling. He had a wrestling mind.
Yeah, but the management.
Just the day-to-day. I remember Tommy Dreamer in the documentary said he couldn't do the day-to-day. He said he tried 23 hours a day doing this stuff from his mom's basement, and it wouldn't work. But he had a genius mind as far as these storylines go. So following this match, they show the limo pulling up. Shane McMahon showing up in WCW 1. For his match later on with his father. The first of 2 ever father versus son matches at WrestleMania. So, and then following this, they show the APA and Jacqueline. I love this segment. Playing poker, and Bradshaw's getting all nervous there because he's like, "We're in the Astrodome," and he starts telling all the stories and everything. And then Farouk's like,
because he was from
What the hell
Texas.
are we waiting for? Let's go."
Bradshaw's from Texas, yeah.
Yeah, this was a big deal for him to be able to wrestle in the Astrodome in this match, and I'm going to say this later when the next Right to Censor match happens. I can make an argument that they should have combined the two matches and I'll explain why later. This was the APA and Taz versus the Right to Censor, Goodfather, Val Venus, and Bull Buchanan. And in my opinion, this is what killed Goodfather and Val Venus's career by doing this. You took the best two gimmicks that you had that the fans just ate up and loved, and you crapped on it with White Sox. So Steven Richards.
Pretty much. Jacqueline, that is a funny spot where Jacqueline DDT somebody in the beginning of the match. I forgot who it was. It was like right away she DDT'd.
It was Steven Richards.
Was it Richards that she DDTs?
Oh, every woman could beat up Steven Richards.
Yeah. No, it was just funny because she just came right out and boom, DDT.
She's one tough woman. I'll give her that. But, China's not the only one that can handle wrestling in the ring with men. Jacqueline, too. This was I'd say a squash match because it was less than 4 minutes.
That's all you needed, though. That's all you needed.
Yeah, for Right to Censor, yes. Goodfather misses his Ho Train clothesline into the corner. Bradshaw hits him with the clothesline from hell. APA and Taz get the victory. It was good to see Taz on the WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Just unfortunately, it's in a storyline with Right to Censor. I never liked this group. Their music was annoying. You killed two wrestling careers. Steven Richards really, I'm not worried about him. And Buchanan just is thankful that he had something to do. Because by this point, Boss Man was out. So, following this debacle, they showed Trish bringing in Linda McMahon in the wheelchair. And Stephanie McMahon is there and telling Trish that we have to have plenty of champagne and strawberries for the celebration. I really liked this storyline leading up to what happened at WrestleMania. This was good stuff, especially with Trish.
With Linda being in like some weird
catatonic state because they have her medicated. Linda is a good egg for actually going along with all of this. I mean,
Trish,
people don't give her credit.
Trish was like crawling like a dog, and they would never get away with any of this stuff today, man. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, they can. Just the people that would have a problem with it can just shut the hell up. I mean, but yeah, you're right. It wouldn't work. So, in any event, our next match, and it was this one. I actually like this. This was a triple threat match for the Hardcore Championship. It was Raven defending the title against Big Show and Kane. God, if you didn't want to kill Raven, man, in this match, and they tried.
But look how far the Big Show has fallen.
He is looking tremendously out of shape, and if you notice, Kane is looking tremendously in shape.
Yeah, but not only that, Big Show came in with all that hype, and they gave him the title, and now he's in a hardcore match.
I think that was too soon. In my opinion, it was too soon.
Kane is in a hardcore match. I could understand Raven, that was fine, but Kane, whatever.
Well, Kane can always either be in that mid-card hardcore match, or he could be
the hardcore
to the main event.
To me personally, the hardcore was just for like those lower mid tier guys.
Kind of like the 24/7 titles. It's for the title for the guys that.
Yeah, I don't think that Kane should have been. Those guys, Kane and Big Show, should have been like too high level for it. But the match was fine. It was entertaining. It was a fun match.
It was. I mean, you see Raven going through a window. I love. You could tell that they just like a couple hours ago just built these rooms for the destruction. They're taking down fences. They're on go-karts. They're running people over, going through walls. I mean, this was great. This is one thing that WCW lacked completely was the imagination for the hardcore division. The WWE went, I hate, no pun intended, to ECW extreme, whereas WCW, it's got a guy that screams every 30 seconds. I mean, it was just ridiculous. They hit him with bread and then knock him out. I mean, come on. But this match was pretty good. They were in the back for a while, came back out to the stage, and you see Big Show has got Raven. He's ready to send him overboard. Kane hits the big boot. They both, fall on the mattress, by the way. And Kane comes off, does a diving leg drop, pins Big Show. Poor Big Show can't get a WrestleMania victory yet. He's 0-3 now.
That looked dangerous, man. That spot, I don't care
It
whether that was foam or whatever was down there, but that
looked like
bad.
it was foam.
But that looked like a bad fall.
Mm-hmm.
And poor Raven, man, didn't even get pinned, and he loses.
That's the art of the triple threat match. Yeah. Look at the year before. Kurt Angle lost both his titles.
Raven just
never pinned.
Raven got a raw deal. He was much better in WCW.
Yes, he did.
Much better in WCW.
At least there he was U.S. champion.
Yeah, but in WWE, Raven.
And I like his music, his entrance. His entrance was great. Yeah, just the character. Unfortunately, Vince buried him. So Kane is the hardcore champion at the moment. So we move on to our next segment. In the back, Kurt Angle is flipping out about if the referee didn't see it, did you tap out? And Edge and Christian's over there trying to make him feel better, and he's freaking out about the whole tapping out on against Chris Benoit. And so he's just like, I gotta, leave me alone, guys. I gotta settle this. And that match with Angle and Benoit, when we get to it, awesome. Our next match was one. I think this was one of the weaker ones of the card. This was for the European Championship. It was Test defending the title against Eddie Guerrero.
Test. I mean, Eddie's awesome, but the European Championship is another championship. Doesn't mean anything. It's just like
not anymore.
I don't think it ever.
When they first brought it in with the
they gave it to Bulldog. They gave it to Bulldog, like, hey, you're the champion because you're European. And then Sean says, "Oh, give me the title because I need the heat to go into the fight with Brett." That European title to me never meant anything, and I felt like Eddie was above that.
He was
personally. But six title matches this night, right? 6 titles on the line this night. Yeah.
And this was the year of the most title changes ever, but mainly because you also brought in the WCW titles.
Yeah.
Thank God they didn't bring the ECW titles in. Oh my God, dude, every 5 minutes it would have been a new champion. But yeah, the European title was a little below Eddie. I will say that. This is also, I think, below Test, but unfortunately Test is not being pushed anymore as he was in the beginning. He's being buried at this point by a man I won't mention.
Test.
Unfortunately, because Test was a really good wrestler.
I thought he was fine. Yeah, I thought he could have. I thought he was all right. Yeah, good luck.
I'm not talking about WWE championships here, but at least he could be in the main event spot. So, and then of course Saturn comes down to ringside. Thank God Moppy's not with him at this point. He's wearing the hat. He's got the white mustache going. He's trying to stay relevant in WWE because at this point, really, him and Malenko are phasing out because now Vince realizes, okay, Eddie and Benoit are the future of what I want to do at this point. So, and the match wasn't bad. Saturn interfered. Malenko interfered.
With the belt, and
Eddie hits him with the belt in Eddie fashion, pins Test. He wins the European Championship. So, I mean, it was a title match. Yes, that Guerrero could be in, but
the match was fun. I thought the match was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good match.
I just think out of the whole stacked card we had, that was probably the weakest one. Maybe the Right to Censor one. You can make an argument.
I would go with the Right to Censor.
I knew you would. Yeah. So, moving on from this one now, Michael Cole then interviewed Mick Foley about him being the referee for the street fight. And I love how he always did that plug. And I'm going to do it here in Houston, Texas. That was always, I like the cheap pops that he always did. And let's not forget, they kept going back and forth, the WWE New York in Times Square. Mm-hmm. They had Superfly Jimmy Snuka there, and everybody was watching it there. Did you ever make it there to WWE New York? Because I did a few times.
I went there one time. I had dinner there. The food was actually good.
That's the only thing I didn't do. Yeah. But when I saw the prices of the stuff that they were selling,
it was pricey.
Yeah, it was $45 for a Raven T-shirt. At least the good thing was when you walked into the shop, they had the themes playing all the time, which I thought was cool. But unfortunately, in Times Square, that was anywhere else. They probably could have.
They used to give the Raw. I know they used to give like Raw and SmackDown on the TVs.
Oh yeah, and they also would show if there was a pay-per-view coming up. I remember I went in right before WrestleMania, and they were showing everything that was leading up to the pay-per-view card. So that's one place I do miss. So our next match on the card was actually a pretty good one. This was Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. And to me, I think what would have made this better is if they would have had a submission match. I know eventually they do in their rivalry, but I think at WrestleMania this is what they should have done. Yeah. And the match itself between the two is good. You know, I don't talk Benoit up a whole lot, but this is one of the dream matches at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Kurt Angle said something. What did he say, man? He said something funny about the crowd. He said something funny. Kurt was always going off on the crowds and everything. Kurt was great on the mic.
It was cool in the beginning with that gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's trying to be that baby. You know, he's trying to be babyface, but he's not. But he goes, it's true.
Yeah.
The only thing I feel bad about is when they gave him the title, he was just a placeholder at 2000 because they knew where they were going from this.
And he was only there for like a year at that point.
I know. And they waited until what? It was the pay-per-view before WrestleMania to take it off.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, but this is the second straight year that Benoit and Angle are actually fighting in a match. But this time it's just one-on-one, and it was a really good match. It's funny. The referee gets knocked down during this match. Benoit is going for the crossface. Angle's tapping out. Referee doesn't see it. Kurt Angle eventually does, beat Benoit. He rolls him up and gets the pin. A little cheesy. Again, I would have thought it would have been a submission style, but he holds it tight, rolls him up. Kurt Angle gets the victory. His first WrestleMania victory in his second attempt. So congratulations to Kurt. Kurt always had good WrestleMania matches.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people don't give him all the credit. They always say Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania, Chris Jericho. Kurt Angle is up there as well with a lot of these guys.
Oh yeah, it's just that Shawn had the longevity.
Yeah,
but yeah, definitely. Kurt was up there.
The next segment they did, I was laughing at this one. I really enjoyed it. Michael Cole is interviewing William Regal, and he sees Kamala on his desk with kimchi, and he's over there with his belly. He goes, "You want me to smack your belly? Are you mad?" I mean, William Regal. I don't know. He was, especially when he was doing the commissioner role at this time. It was really good stuff. You got, he's telling him, "Get the hell out of here." What is they're like, that's when they mentioned that Kamala would be in the Gimmick Battle Royal later. But I thought that was funny. The next segment after this, they showed the wrestlers with the soldiers at Fort Hood and Killeen, which I thought was pretty good. I actually went there one time. I was down here. I was down on vacation at Christmas time, and we did the Christmas with the lights that the soldiers had done in the base. So they did a really good job on that.
Pretty cool.
And the reception that they gave the wrestlers was great. I mean, WWE has always done good stuff with the soldiers. So next on the card for this one was for the women's championship. Oh boy. It was Ivory defending the title against China. Now, this is the one I'm talking about that you could have incorporated into the earlier match and just had a mixed 8-on-8, because this match right here is garbage. You know what's going to happen.
Well, they wanted China to go over. So
yeah, and then shortly after this, they get rid of her. It was like right around the time that she's going to face Lita for the title, and she gets fired.
Well, they had the whole injury angle with Ivory, right?
Yeah, at the Royal Rumble. China, they did the storyline where she hurt her neck because she fought Ivory at the Royal Rumble. She had to be carted off, and she had to sign a what do they call
waiver? The waiver thing.
Well, yeah, we'll just use waiver at this point, saying that WWE is not responsible for what happens. Obviously, this is all storyline. Ivory comes out first. She's clutching that title like she knows she's going to kiss it goodbye.
Yeah.
China comes out, looks great.
Yep.
And I mean, this was what, a 2.5-minute match.
Squash match, yeah. She got the title.
She does an Ultimate Warrior gorilla press slam and just leans back on her. Goodbye.
See ya.
They gave China the women's championship, which I thought, at least for her, was kind of a downgrade considering she's a former Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, but she's never going to be an IC champion, so
she's never going to be anything else in a few months. This is it for her, unfortunately. Who knows? Stephanie still has that bitter thing with her, but it is what it is. Following this one, now they did segment lead because we've got the big match coming up. Vince, Stephanie, Linda, and Trish all in the back. Michael Cole was interviewing Vince. Following this, they showed what led up to all of this. Vince buying his competition. I love. You actually called me. I had just gotten home from work. You called me and told me you're never going to believe this. Vince bought WCW. I said, nah, bullshit. Hung up, went online, and sure enough, there it was. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
No, nobody could believe that, man.
I mean, I knew WCW was in the trash at this point, seriously, but I never realized that Vince bought it, and he underpaid tremendously for it.
Yep, and he killed it, and he said, hey, you know. So for what we'll get into this on an episode, but basically he just wanted the video library is what he really wanted.
That's all he wanted.
Yeah, so.
But I always thought they could keep it running, just put Nitro on a different night.
We'll get into a whole episode.
Oh yeah, that's a whole episode in itself.
Yeah, so storyline wise, Shane is the one who actually buys it.
The name on the contract does say McMahon, but it's Shane McMahon.
Live broadcast
from Pensacola,
from Panama. I think it was Panama City.
Oh, sorry, Panama City.
Yeah, from Nitro and Raw simultaneous. That was cool. So that leads into this match.
Father versus son street fight. Vince McMahon versus Shane McMahon street fight. Mick Foley, the special guest referee. This match was great. I really enjoyed it. This was the first time we also see the coast to coast that Shane does. So
we have Mick Foley back after he stunk it up last year.
Oh God!
At least now he's a ref, so it's fun.
Yeah, he redeemed himself here.
But he got involved in the match.
I knew he would, because even when he got in the ring, he patted Shane on the shoulder, so you kind of knew that he was biased. In this match. Now, what made this even more interesting is now they bring Linda down to the ring. This really made it interesting, because now that Shane is out, he's gone through the table, he's out of it. Foley's out of it. Vince goes over and he's messing with Linda. Foley gets real agitated. Leave her alone. Mm-hmm. He puts a chair in the ring. He sits Linda down. He goes, "Watch what I'm going to do to your bastard son." And man, did you hear 67,000 people when he turned around at that garbage can and she stood up.
She got up, yeah.
Oh my God! I was watching this at a friend's house. This is the first WrestleMania I didn't do at my place. I went to a friend Anthony's house for this, and man, we were in the basement, and I could hear his mother going, "What is going on?" I hear him yell to his mom, "Mom, Linda got up." Oh, okay. Because she was a wrestling fan, I think. But when she got up and Shane is there, he's pointing to Vince. Vince turns around, and you could tell, he moves his feet a little bit so she can kick the field goal. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, here comes Foley in the ring, and he's beating down Vince. And Shane does the coast to coast, gets the victory, wins the match. All of you see Sean Stasiak go, "Yay, Shane! Yeah, I'm about to be fired." Chavo was a little into it, but this was a really good match. It wasn't even that long. It was about 14 minutes.
Yeah,
but again, I don't think Vince could go that long anyway. So, but yeah, this was a really good one. So following this match, they showed the fan access now from the day before, and they had interviewed the Hardys while they're doing the autograph session, because the next match would be important as they're interviewing them. Our next match was TLC 2. Triple threat match for the tag team titles. The Dudley Boys defending the titles against the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian in TLC 2. Remember when they did the first one at SummerSlam, and they tore the house down.
Yep.
And so what we can expect the same thing here, and we got it. Oh man, did we get it!
Probably one of the best tag matches ever, probably. And I guess their best match, right? As far as TLC, I think it was this one.
Definitely. And what's funny is this is like the second of 3 straight WrestleManias that the Hardys will be involved in a match with the Dudleys.
Poor Hardys.
WrestleMania 18, they're involved in an elimination match with them, where Edge and Christian are already broken up. But it's funny how Edge and Christian always come out victorious in these matches.
Yep.
And this is also, let's not forget, this is the famous Edge spear of Jeff Hardy as he's dangling. And let's also not forget the interference. They talked about how Lita, Rhino, and Spike had all gotten hurt prior to WrestleMania, and who shows up? Lita, Rhino and Spike.
Yeah, I don't know.
It added to the match.
It added to the match, but at the same time, I was like, just let these guys do that.
Do we really need them?
Yeah, but it was
in
fine.
This match.
It didn't ruin it. It didn't ruin it.
No, by nothing.
But I just felt like let them handle it. Because what is Rhino pushes over? Who does he push over? They're on the ladders, and he pushes them over.
It was Matt. Matt was one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, into the 4 tables because they were constructing it.
Yeah.
I thought they were dead at that point. You know, Edge and Christian. You know, they get the victory. Rhino. Oh man, there was quite a few in this one. That I'm surprised there was no injuries going forward. That all these guys, you know, kept to their schedule and whatnot. But even the one where Edge speared Jeff. I thought, and they showed the landing on Jeff, how he hit his head. Man, I thought he was good. He was done at that point, but apparently not. And I love the segment with the Dudleys back then, the what's up, and then pushing
the tables,
get the tables.
That was good stuff. Yeah, that was really good stuff.
We'll never have another tag teams like these guys. Wow. And I remember a couple of years ago, Vince wanted to try to, when he had the Hardys under contract and Devon was a producer in the back. And Christian was actually there from time to time. They thought about redoing this.
No, it's okay.
Actually, people are afraid. I've been reading online that when Edge finally leaves WWE later this year and retires, they're wondering, will he go to AEW to try to have a last run with Christian? And remember, the Hardys are there too. I hope they don't try it. I really don't. Not this 20 years later. No, please don't. So, but anyway, this was definitely one of the premier matches of the evening. They following this, they also showed more from Access. You know, they showed The Rock, they showed Austin, Kane. You know, everything from there. So it was actually pretty good. The next match for this one was the Gimmick Battle Royal, where we got to see Bobby Heenan and Mean Gene Okerlund do the commentary at least one more time.
Yeah, that was fun.
I was always wondering since Bobby Heenan was back in WWE, why didn't they make him a commentator again? I didn't understand that, because the next time you really see him after this is his Hall of Fame induction in WrestleMania 20, where he's having the problems at that point with his voice with the cancer, unfortunately. But I never understood why they didn't bring him back as a commentator. But there is 2 issues with this match. Number one, there was only 19 men that came out in this match because the 20th man, Corporal Kirshner, decided, I'm not doing this. This doesn't work for me, brother. And the other thing was, One Man Gang was supposed to be Akeem, but because he lost so much weight, he didn't fit into the attire. So he came out as One Man Gang.
Yeah, and Red Rooster was supposed to be in this, but he said he didn't want to do it. They invited him.
That's not going to work for me, brother. But we did have, and a couple of people didn't make sense in this. It really didn't. You had the Bushwhackers, Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter, Duke the Dumpster Drosy, Doink, Repo Man, Repo Mean Gene's mother-in-law, Hillbilly Jim, Nikolai Volkov, Tugboat, Jim Cornette, I didn't think belonged in there. The Goon, Jesus, Kimchi, Kamala. This is like a Monday Night Raw from 1994 here, seriously. Earthquake, One Man Gang, Gobbledygooker, another one didn't belong. Brother Love, another one didn't belong. And Michael Hayes, the only time we get a Freebird fighting in a WrestleMania.
Yeah, that was great. He got a good big pop, too.
Yes, he did. Because it's in Texas. Very known Freebirds, Von Erich's feud down in Texas, always. This really went fast, and even Mean Gene and Bobby were like...
It was fun. It was silly, but it was fun.
It was something that I remember reading online back then, and I never knew that... They just said Vince was thinking about it, and I never thought he was going to go through with it. But the Iron Sheik wins it, naturally. And it was funny, as he's coming down to the ring, I hear Bobby Heenan, by the time he gets to the ring, it'll be WrestleMania 38.
Yeah, how about him and Slaughter going at it after the match? It was Slaughter versus General Adnan, right? It was General Adnan?
No, Mustafa.
Mustafa, yeah. Colonel Mustafa.
Because they were saying how 10 years ago they had beef. I'm like, no, not at first they didn't, but later in that year, yes. Yeah. So it was good to see Bobby and Mean Gene doing the commentating, the jokes and everything. It was awesome. So now we get to the next match. It is The Undertaker versus Triple H. And they showed what led up to this. This to me back then felt like it was okay, we don't have anything for these two guys. Let's put them in the ring together.
Yeah, but it was good because they hadn't
It
fought.
worked.
They hadn't fought before, I guess on a pay-per-view at least.
Yeah.
I like what Undertaker said. I'll make you famous.
He said, I'm already famous.
Yeah. That was cool. It was a good build-up. And this is the forgotten match because
it is. It really is.
Later on, when they fight each other, WWE basically pretends that they never fought at WrestleMania before. When they fight back-to-back years.
The end of the era,
yeah, they basically pretend that this never happened. This was a great match. It was a great... I enjoyed the build-up. I enjoyed seeing the two of them together. I like the entrances. Triple H came out. That was a great entrance of Motorhead.
Yes.
Undertaker comes out to Rollin'.
Yep.
Motorcycle.
And I thought it would have been cool back then if they would have had Limp Bizkit perform his entrance as well. But getting Motorhead doing it was just as good. You know, they were awesome. And, you know, Triple H, you know, was acknowledging him and stuff. And I mean, this match did not disappoint. There was a reason why these two fought.
I think this is their best match.
It is.
At least as far as the WrestleMania matches, because I don't really remember the other ones. This was the best one. They were still in their prime. All right
with Shawn Michaels.
These guys, but they were older. They were in their prime here. They were in their prime here. Yeah.
This was it. This was their time. Mm-hmm. And I mean, going off the scaffolding by the electronic area was just great. Taker going for the last ride.
I was laughing when
Triple H hit the sledgehammer.
Undertaker hit the ref. That was great.
Yeah, they were like, "Why is he doing that?" Yeah. You know, your undefeated streak, you know, is in jeopardy if you do that because you know you're 9-0 now. And I mean, he hits the last ride from the corner on Triple H, pins him. He is now 9-0 at WrestleMania, Decade of Destruction. It was good to see him back at WrestleMania. He missed the year before, and this match again did not disappoint. And yes, it was their best WrestleMania match. Now we go on to the main event. The Rock defending the WWE title against the 2001 Royal Rumble winner, the 3-time champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And they mentioned this before the match that it was now going to be a no disqualification match because we'll find out later why.
Yeah, once they said that, you're like, uh-oh.
And I don't know about you, but when Austin came back, to me, he just felt a little darker, meaner. Like he's a fan favorite to the fans, but there's something there, especially when the music changed when he went to Disturbed's version, which was good. I felt like there was something where he was going to turn heel.
I don't know. I just felt like this was a tremendous build-up. It was babyface versus babyface again, right? We had seen that when Hogan fought Warrior, and we had seen that when Shawn fought Bret at WrestleMania. The build-up, who could forget the iconic theme song from Limp Bizkit, and those videos, the interviews.
Man. Every time I hear that song, I play the video package in my head.
Can't help. Best package ever. Best package ever.
Yes. Best match between these two. Yeah. Period.
Rock was on fire because remember, you know, when Austin had gotten injured, The Rock had gone to another level.
He had to.
You know, it being in Texas, though, you know, the crowd is going to swing for Austin.
Oh, definitely.
Despite the fact that The Rock is also a baby face.
He got a good pop, but Austin's was just.
But yeah, there's no way around that.
Okay, and they show what led up to this. Mm-hmm. Again, like we said before, The Rock wins the title at No Way Out against Kurt Angle. Austin eliminates Kane in the final person entry in the Royal Rumble. Austin wins it, and of course, you know all the stuff that they did prior to this. You know, making Deborah.
Thank God.
The manager. Thank God she didn't show up.
They got rid of it. They axed it. They axed it. Yeah, because that was stupid. I'm like, why is she in the middle of this? It's like she has no business. No business being involved in this.
Exactly. And of course, Rock is like, I'm not responsible for her if she gets hurt.
Yeah, that was stupid.
And of course, Angle does something to her on SmackDown. Austin comes out, beats the hell out of Angle, and then takes it out on The Rock. The one thing I really liked was the beer toast. When they both smacked it at each other, and Austin's like, all right, the hell with this. And then they just started beating each other up. Rock was always good at selling the stunner. Yeah. I mean, this was just tremendous.
Yeah, I was a huge Rock fan, and I was pulling for The Rock, but I had a feeling it's in Texas and Austin.
I had a feeling Austin was going to win it.
Austin was going to win it. Yeah, going into it, but the crowd was pretty split. They did favor Austin. There's no doubt about that. But The Rock did get his cheers.
Yes, he
did get his cheers. And this is, they were obviously, I mean, Austin is not the same because he had the neck injury, but he's still good. It's not like the year after where he's like already breaking down, and the year after that where
oh man, unfortunately,
he's on the way out, and that was
it
his
was a
last
shame.
match. So this was just tremendous, man. This rivalry and at WrestleMania again, right? Because they fought
At
a
15.
couple years prior to that when The Rock was an actual heel.
So as the match is being announced, they announced that it's a no disqualification match. Jim Ross is like, "Where the hell did that come from? You know what's going on here?" And even I was like skeptical. I'm like, "Wait a minute." I'm like, and the first thing that popped in my head was Vince. So Austin comes down, Rock comes down. Of course, like we said, Austin got the bigger pop in this one. They didn't waste any time beating the hell out of each other. And
Well,
I mean,
I mean, The Rock was still coming down from the rope. He was posing with the belt. As soon as he comes down, Austin attacks him.
yeah, which is kind of like a heel move.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, and they didn't leave anything, no stone unturned.
Oh.
They used bells, tables, chairs, anything and everything that he did. They were both busted open. It's funny because Austin actually looked like he did at WrestleMania 13, and they referred to that at one point when he had the sharpshooter on, and Austin is screaming, and they were like, "Oh, shades of what Bret Hart was doing to Austin at WrestleMania 13." And I'm like, well, I guess they can mention him now. They bought WCW. And I mean, this was just unbelievable how many times they went back and forth, rock bottoms, stunners, kicking out, everything they did. And who comes out?
Vinnie
Vince.
Mac.
Then, and the first thing I'm thinking is, watching this is, okay, I can't see Rock turning heel. What the hell is he doing here? And
Right.
I never thought in 1,000 years what we would get.
No, you kind of thought that he just would have mucked it up, and then there would have been like a double DQ or something like that,
but because there's no disqualification.
There's no DQ. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I didn't really know what to believe.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew what. I mean, The Rock had previously been a heel, but it wouldn't have. You're thinking like, The Rock's a babyface now, and Austin hates McMahon. So where's this going? And I mean, I kind of felt like the crowd kind of ignored Vince to a degree.
A little bit,
right? Like,
because I mean, at this point, this is if it is Austin, we're going on 3 years for this feud,
right.
maybe even a little bit longer.
Yeah.
If you flash back to the WrestleMania prior, Vince screwed The Rock over.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to do it again? Obviously, he does. But what's his intention with Rock and Austin, and who's going to come out on top with his interference? And I never would have thought in 1,000 years that Austin and McMahon would have worked together with a chair on The Rock. That whole night, I was in shock. I just kept saying, "Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so."
But look how long it took, though. It wasn't like it happened right at the end of the match. There was still a third.
No,
of the match.
There was still about 10, 15 minutes. This match went almost 30 minutes.
Yeah. So
this took
a
while.
Yeah, The Rock is kicking out. Like, he's kicking out of stuff too. Like
Austin's throwing a tantrum. He's smacking the ring.
Throwing a tantrum. The false finishes. And this is what I alluded to in the beginning of it. This is where the pay-per-view suffers for me as far as a WrestleMania. Everything was great up until this point. But then when this happens, especially when there's still a lot of the match left, it just kind of took away. You didn't need Vince involved in this Rock versus Austin thing. You didn't.
Really. It could have been an after effect.
Right.
Once Austin wins the match, then Vince comes down.
Or maybe right at the end. Like right at the very end, he turns and then
not 2/3 of the match through.
Kind of dragged it out, like I said, and this is a long pay-per-view. This is almost 4 hours. This damn pay-per-view.
Seriously.
And the previous one was long too, because the previous one, I forgot what the last.
They don't get shorter.
No, so I also heard that the original plan was a double swerve, in that Austin turns heel and then Triple H turns babyface, and for whatever reason they changed course on that.
So, because it wasn't it the night after that Rock got his rematch in a cage, and that's where Triple H came out, and everybody thought that he was going to turn babyface, and he actually helped Austin take out The Rock, and that's where the two-man power trip came from. And then they suspend Rock indefinitely. Obviously, he's going off to do the Scorpion King.
Right.
But yeah, the next night on Raw was even a big swerve. But I mean,
there was I don't
know if Triple H going babyface would have worked with all of this.
I mean, I think that still would have been better than the. I mean, I didn't mind the two. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent because we can cover this stuff later on. But like, I didn't mind the 2-man power trip. But to me, it didn't make any sense because I mean, Triple H tried to hit him with the car. He hired,
they just had a 3 stages of hell match.
They had a 3-stage of hell match, and now they're whatever. Anyway, I also heard that Austin actually had he had the green light to do whatever he wanted to do. Like if he didn't want to turn heel, that he could have said no. That he could have told Vince no. Even during the match. This is what I heard. I don't know if it was Jim Ross that said it. Somebody said it, that Austin to this day regrets turning heel. He said the 2 biggest regrets of his career was 1, walking out in 2002, and he said, and turning heel here. Bad move.
Well, remember, in 2001, he has two heel moves, 2 heel turns.
Which is even worse. Yeah, which is even you don't learn from the first time. This was
and then of course after the invasion, he's just walking around like, oh, nothing ever happened.
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert: Austin wins the title.
Obviously.
And then he shakes Vince's hand.
He shook the devil's hand, and this is where my mouth dropped. And I literally, I was up all night. I went to work the next day at the Blockbuster, and the store manager that was there, he wasn't really a wrestling fan. And he's like, "What's the matter?" I was like, "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." He's like, "What?" I was like, "Austin turned heel." He goes, "Oh, with this garbage." I'm like, I almost hit him. But it was just a shock to me that after everything we've seen with Vince and Austin, ladder matches, cage matches, all sorts of stuff between these two, now he's in his back pocket. And I'm like, what are you doing?
And it never worked because the people, they still cheered.
It really didn't. Yeah. And you put all the belts on these guys. The Intercontinental title goes on Triple H. The tag titles go on around their waist.
And then Triple H blows his quad.
Yeah, and on top of that, you really didn't. This is where I said that 2001 was lacking after this because you feud with Taker and Kane. Then you're feuding with the Hardys and beating the hell out of Lita, despite the fact that you're not going to a pay-per-view against these guys. Then you start feuding with Benoit and Jericho, and what's funny is that around that point, Triple H gets hurt, Benoit gets hurt. They're both out of the invasion angle.
Yeah. So
yeah. Even if there was no invasion that year, I really am curious to see where they would have gone. Where this would have ended up. Would have we had a Rock Austin rematch at SummerSlam? Was Jericho going to grab the ball and face Austin at SummerSlam, or was it still going to be Angle?
Yeah, who knows?
I mean,
but overall,
there's no telling on this.
I mean, overall, this WrestleMania was good. I know some people say it's the best WrestleMania. For me, it's not.
Say
just
one
because
of the best.
It's up there,
not
but
the
just for the ending, for what happened at the ending, I don't.
Damn you, Austin, for going with Vince.
Yeah.
I couldn't. No, I couldn't believe it. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
So, all right. Well, that's our WrestleMania review. You guys let us know what you think. Tell us where you rank this WrestleMania. And please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care, guys.